All through the year, we've been working on different kinds of writing in class, expository writing and some critical writing, some creative writing. And we finally got to the stage where I really felt my students needed some exercise in putting together solid paragraphs. I mean, really solid critical paragraphs where they're building an actual argument. And in the English department, middle school English department, Jim Reese, I believe, developed this closing assignment on House on Mango Street, where the students would write 6 paragraphs based on a color, symbol, image thinking routine. And what I did initially was, talk about the routine with them and then talk about what I expected in a solid paragraph, a clear topic sentence, some solid claims, some supporting material from the text under those claims, and some analysis. And then I asked them to go and write 6 paragraphs on 2 vignettes, a color, a symbol, image paragraph for 1 vignette, and a color, symbol, image, that's 3 paragraphs each on the other vignette. And that was back first week in November, I believe. And when I got the assignment in, I looked at their paragraphs and I was pretty dismayed.
I had a quotation in the citation of the code, but I didn't really analyze it. There was no introduction to what I was talking about. I didn't talk about what I was symbolizing in that paragraph. There was no really explanation for anything.
To represent the core ideas in this vignette, I chose the color yellow. I chose yellow because it is a bright color that I associated with the abrupt warning sunlight that you feel when you open the blinds. This represents Danny and Esperanza's laugh, which is happy and warm, yet unpleasant like the sunlight and the breaking dishes, used as a simile in the vignette.
You chose this as your weakest paragraph of the 6 you'd written. Can you just, why?
Well, in my first paragraph that I wrote, there basically wasn't any strong argument that I put into the paragraph. I didn't have a basic structure of an introduction, a topic sentence. I didn't have quotes to support my claim, and I didn't have a conclusion.
And I decided needed to do something to try and get them to write better paragraphs. And that's what prompted the assignment.
So I want you to look at that paragraph that you said was your weakest. I want you to have in your head what you need to do to improve that. I do not want you to write this paragraph. I want you to build this paragraph.
Something happens when students start to write. Even if they have a written plan sometimes, something happens that they forget that plan. They just start writing, and they're starting to write as they think. And more often than not, they're setting parts of that plan aside. And I'm very learn by doing based. And I've done other exercises in classes where I've had students sort of build things. So I decided to take the concept of building an argument as literally as I could. And I wanted my students I gave them this 2-tiered assignment. I wanted them to identify what paragraph they thought was the weakest, and then I wanted them to develop a topic sentence for that paragraph that they thought would really convey what it needed to convey, and then stop there once they've created that topic sentence.
Clearly, do not even attempt to build your model until you have the details, your topic sentence written. You're building your argument. You've got to get your topic sentence straight first. After that, you can start laying out your plan for your paragraph. But you don't need to write it, but you do need to get your topic sentence sorted out.
Then I found an app on the App Store that's the equivalent of a Lego app. Went back and forth on using real Legos or a Lego app, and in the end I let the students decide if they wanted to use real Legos or use the Lego app. But I wanted them to literally build an argument. And by that I don't mean that they would put together their ideas right away, but that they would look at their topic sentence and they would say, to support this topic sentence, I'm going to need this many claims. And to find a color and a design that they could put together that would link to that topic sentence. And then with those claims, they would decide, I'm going to need this much supporting textual material, and then find a way of affixing that textual material to those claims. I'm going to need this many points of transition in this paragraph, and actually build those transition points into the paragraph.
So how many separate points are you talking about in your paragraph? 3 separate points.
So the first one would be how they are wealthy compared to Esperanza's family. The second one, which is green, would be how they related to friends. And the third one is how both of these claims creates a gap between them. So,
Okay, is that, you're representing those, is that what you're doing here? Idea A, B, C?
yeah.
Okay, great.
So what I was hoping to do with this exercise, and I haven't seen the results yet, was to do this, to take some of the thinking out of their heads into their hands, and hoping that by putting it in their hands, I know it sounds silly, they would have some sort of muscle memory, that when it came to actually writing the paragraph, I would get nice, fully fleshed out paragraphs, because they had taken the time to design it in the abstract before fleshing it out with all the details. In the end, of course, I did tell them, now that you've really spent some time on this model, I do want you to go back to those vignettes, use your model, make whatever adjustments you need on your model at this point, and flesh it out and write the paragraph. So that's what I'm hoping to see, some really well-developed, nicely transitioned, clear topic sentence arguments.
Well, I'll tell you what I actually really want you to do is, if you could just read us your whole paragraph, word for word, your new paragraph.
The color that best represents the vignette laughter is black because it represents Nenny and Esperanza's subtle similarities in their thoughts and actions. I chose black because I associate it with a shadow or silhouette, which represents the notion of concealed characteristics between Nenny and Esperanza. This is evident in this vignette as Esperanza makes multiple observations regarding her and Nenny's similarities outside of their physical traits. For example, Esperanza makes a statement describing their physical relationship. She explains, Nenny and I don't look like sisters, not right away. Esperanza means that Nenny and her share some characteristics that are not easily noticeable. For instance, one of them is their laughter. Esperanza says that their laughter is to be all of a sudden and surprised like a pile of dishes breaking type of laugh. She uses laughter as an example of their relationship because their laughter is distinct, although it isn't as obvious as a physical trait, such as the fat lips of Rachel and Lucy, which Esperanza uses to contrast with her in subtle similarity. Unlike actions, another of Esperanza and Nenny's similarities is in their thoughts and opinions. Esperanza uses a specific moment in time as an example of this characteristic. One day when she's passing a house, she says, "Look at that house. It looks like Mexico." Immediately after, amidst Rachel and Lucy's imminent sneers, Nenny responds, "Yes, that's what I was thinking exactly." This shows that Nenny and Esperanza are in fact similar in their thoughts too, without having to verbally communicate. In addition, their thoughts differ from the likes of Rachel and Lucy, and this shows that their statements are not something general that everyone could agree with. In conclusion, the color black best represents this vignette because it is a color that holds the same characteristics as Nenny and Esperanza's relationship. Nenny and Esperanza demonstrate through their actions and thoughts that their similarities aren't that easily noticed, like how the color black can conceal certain details in the form of a shadow or silhouette. Therefore, black is the best color to represent the core ideas of this vignette with laughter.
Okay, really solid paragraph. I want you guys to keep this in mind. This is not a formula, right? I don't want your papers turned into that, but at the very least, I do want you to see that topic sentences should contain some detail. It does, right? Both cold and comforting, but not all the detail that's down here. This is your analysis.
Mr. Heilman said it's not supposed to be like firm structure, everything concrete as this like perfect essay, but definitely just the organization is really how it's like 10 times easier for someone to read your essay if it's more organized in this structure.
I want you to make sure that you have at least 2 examples to support your points. Quotations, whether they're integrated or introduced, that are really relevant, and some analysis, right? Do you have to analyze each quotation separately? No, not really. You could put them both in there, transition between them, and then explain them collectively.
Well, like making the structure made me realize like what kind of the order was of things that I needed to talk about, kind of how the sequence and structure of the paragraph was supposed to look like, and how the topics were connected through it, or if you had more than one topic in it, you would like it would all be connected somehow, so it wasn't separate things. You weren't talking about separate things. So this like made it a lot clearer in my mind, and probably in other people's minds, of like what the paragraph is actually supposed to look like, the building of the paragraph.